Where is Biden? That's what Cuban-Americans are asking in the absence of the president's support for the protests in Cuba. And what about the reaction from progressives in the Democratic Party? It's being described as downright strange. Could it be because people fleeing socialism are more likely to vote Republican? Here's Dale Hurd with more.
Pat, America is supposed to be a beacon for all people who want to be free. But the left's reaction to the Cuba protests shows they're a lot less supportive when it comes to communist dictators. As the protests in Havana against Cuba's communist dictatorship continue, Cuban-Americans are also protesting outside the White House this week and in cities across the country. And many are asking, to his credit, Joe Biden actually did express support for the Cuban protest early on. But critics say the administration could have done a lot more to encourage the protesters and hasn't. And the reaction from the so-called progressive wing of the Democrat Party and the mainstream media has been downright strange. The New York Times was ripped for labeling the protesters' calls for freedom anti-government slogans. Department of Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas warned any potential Cuban refugees they would not be allowed to enter the U.S., even as record numbers of illegal migrants have poured over the U.S. southern border, causing some to wonder if it's because people fleeing socialism would be more likely to vote Republican. Then Democrats like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez blamed the hardships in Cuba not on socialism but on the United States economic embargo, even though Cuba can get anything it wants from the many other nations it trades with. In a statement supporting the protest, Cortez wrote, "We must also blame the U.S. contribution to Cuban suffering, our 60-year embargo." She also called the embargo absurdly cruel and said the cruelty is the point.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is nothing more than a communist sympathizer who wants to bring socialism to the United States of America, and I'm sure she sympathizes with the regime in Cuba.
Whether or not that's true, AOC is a proud socialist.
Yeah. But I want to point out that she's a socialist. She wants 7% tax rates. Those are both accurate, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders, an avowed socialist who honeymooned in the Soviet Union, last year defended his positive comments about Fidel Castro from the 1980s.
We're very opposed to the authoritarian nature of Cuba. But, it's unfair to simply say everything is bad. When Fidel Castro came into office, you know what he did? He had a massive literacy program. Is that a bad thing?
The grandson of Cuban refugees, Jason Poblet of the Global Liberty Alliance, says the U.S. is missing a golden opportunity to bring real change to the island because of the myths the left has believed about Cuba.
You don't want to lose Cuba, right? Because Cuba was supposed to be this healthcare miracle, right? It's supposed to be this socialist paradise that they have been cramming into the heads of students and university students. So yes, we could do a lot. We're not doing it.
And earlier this week, a group of 19 lawmakers requested a meeting with President Biden to discuss a stronger response to Cuba. So far, no word on a White House reply. Pat?
Dale, what role are Christians playing in this whole insurrection, if I can call it that, for freedom in Cuba?
A major role, so much so that the Cuban security apparatus is threatening clergymen, and a number are in jail. Sometimes when you'll watch some of this protest video, you'll particularly see the Catholic priests that are out among the protesters. They feel it's their responsibility. And we have the Cuban Liberation Movement, which was started by Catholics, and that is in action. But a Cuban-American leader told me he got a call from a Cuban pastor who said the Cuban Security Service called him and said, if we see you in the demonstrations, you're going to jail and you'll never see your family again. And that tells you something about the Cuban government's fear of Christian leaders.
Dale, thank you very much for your reporting.